Hey everyone, so welcome to another video. This video is being motivated and driven by a wonderful question from one of our subscribers on our YouTube channel. So the lady wrote to me within the last week, and she was kind of sharing with me that for many years she'd been practicing tarot, been practicing mediumship for many years. She felt that even though she'd been practicing with it, there was slow progress. And that she found that she was able to connect to spirit for people, and that it was good. And the people could take and enjoy what she had to give them, although she felt she was very much a learner. However, even though she closed down properly and practiced protection religiously, that she found during her sleep that she would get random spirits would appear, who felt not very nice, who would wake her up and even make her dog growl. And she seemed to wonder about, even though she would smudge the house, she would smudge herself, and she was generally a really happy person, so no low vibrations. Didn't practice anything silly or even extreme, like, you know, for instance, using the ouija board. She just wondered why it happened to her. She went on to say, sometimes I can't tell if I have a guide or it's a spirit mucking around. I don't feel scared or show fear. I'm just a little bit fed up on this. Your advice would be so very helpful, as this is putting me off helping others. So there's a few things for me that I really want to share with you. Those of you that haven't already seen the only psychic protection you'll ever need, attitude is everything, I will put a link to that video within this video. Absolutely worth a watch. It will really give you a foundation to what I'm about to share with you now. Okay, now the thing is, there's a couple of things that kind of I really want to explore with you all, is that what I'm really kind of motivated to do is share with you the wealth of my experience that now tips over the 26-year mark. Now, this is my own personal direct experience with my relationship to the innate and spirit firsthand. It's my experience, and what I really wanting to do through these videos is share my experiences to hopefully be able to kind of inspire, motivate, guide and help you. But they are based on my personal experience with spirit and the innate firsthand. So, you know, when I kind of say to you, you know, about that video, really, if you're kind of struggling with kind of shifting energies that you feel that linger around, or energies that are low vibrational, that's your foundation first and foremost. Then I would really kind of encourage you to come back to this video. What we can really do is explore that, and explore the wonderful question that we got sent in from a lady called Jill. We're able to kind of really kind of explore that a lot deeper. Now, there's a couple of things that I really want to really kind of grab hold of, is that even for me within these last 26 years, you know, I kind of know that I pitch myself in a space, an environment that I also know that how important it is to be able to kind of switch off or close down. The foundation video first, you will really get an understanding of why I say that to you. The other thing I want to say to you is, the more kind of aware you become, the more that you drop into a partnership and a working relationship with spirit, the veils between the world become thinner. It naturally will occur if you're kind of practicing, you're working with this daily, as I am. The veils between those two worlds become thinner and thinner and thinner. Then what starts to happen, you naturally start to pick up on the subtle energies that are moving around you. Okay, and that doesn't mean that those subtle energies are always negative. What it means is that your awareness to subtlety becomes increased because you're working with it more often. I had a wonderful lady working with me today. She's somebody that I will see once a year and have done for probably beyond the 6-7 years now, maybe a little bit longer actually, but round about that mark. And every time she sits with me, her dear Nan will come through and always talk about what is current, what is going on, with huge amounts of validation. Now, the interesting thing is that her dad has been passed a very, very long time and she doesn't hear from her dad. And she turned to me today and I said to her, towards the end of the consultation, I said to her, do you have any questions? And she looked at me and went, no, you've answered every question, which normally that's exactly how it should be, is answering every question that the client comes with without them consciously asking you a question. That's the holistic approach. That's holistic mediumship at work. It's always about getting to the root of what is going on for that person and then finding a solution and helping them move forwards. And she said, no, you've answered every question. And then she looked at me and went, is my dad all right? Because I never hear from him. I turned and looked at her. I said, so, dad's in spirit. She went, yeah. And then I got this impression of a flash of dark hair. She said, yeah. And I said, and chest problem, lung, I can't breathe. And she looked at me and smiled. She said, absolutely. I went, the thing is, within life, was he really, really, really quiet? She went, he was incredibly quiet. So what was happening was that her dear Nan was coming through as bold as brass, which was her personality, loud and vigorous, which was her personality, in a way drowning out her dear dad. Now, with the information I shared with her, the dark hair, the sense of chest, lung, okay, very important, lung problem, and then the feeling that he's very, very quiet, validated that it was him talking. Now, the lung problem was really, really important because he actually passed with a blood clot that went to the lung. So very, very important piece of information. But what I really want to get across to you is that is the subtlety in the information of what we feel. He was a very, very quiet person in life. So you imagine if I said, I've got this gentleman here, he's coming through very loud, it wouldn't have fitted. So in a way, her dad chose the absolute moment to really validate the experience in a very, very powerful way. She looked at me and said, is Dad okay? I never hear from him. All right, Dad's in spirit. She went, yeah. Well, okay. So I turned and I listened and I'm like, if you're there, please step forwards. And then it was all about recognizing the subtleties, that subtle information. And within that subtle information, I got a sense of the dark hair. I got the sense of the lung problem, which took him, and also got the sense of he was extremely quiet, which was the vital piece of information. So what I'm saying to you is, quite naturally, the more we kind of work with this, the veils between those worlds become thinner and thinner and thinner. Then we start to absolutely notice, pick up, and connect with the subtlety. Now, sometimes, you can kind of ground, you can kind of close down. but you'll still be very aware of the subtle information, because all of this then becomes a part of you. It's then this discerning what is kind of negative and what isn't. If you watch the foundation video, you'll know that attitude is everything, and that all of this works on resonance. You know, if you're kind of fearful and you're kind of chaotic and you're approaching this with a huge amount of fear, then that's what you're going to draw towards you. You know, resonance, like will attract like. It is almost like a fundamental law, universal law, if you like. That it's all to do with resonance. You know, you have those days where you meet the day and you're full of vitality, you're full of happiness, you're full of kind of joy, and then all day long you come into contact with, you know, people are super helpful, people are really, really smiley, people open doors for you, and the world meets you with that kind of vitality and goodness and greatness. You have those other days where you're agitated, you jump in the car and all you get is road rage, because in a way that's what you're resonating at and that's what you're drawing towards you. So it's a fundamental law. The other really, really important point to really kind of, for me, emphasize, and it's all being motivated by the innate, is to know that you are in a place of leadership. That you are in a place of leadership and a place of discernment. You know, when I'm working. You know, I'm in that space. I'm kind of working with the innate. I'm working with spirit. Although I am very aware that I have a relationship with them that goes beyond, you know, the time that I'm working. It is who I am. But when I'm working, and when I'm not, I almost tune out. That allows me to sustain the level of work that I do. It allows me to continue. In a way, it stops me burning out, because you can, you know, if you imagine for a moment you're like a transistor radio, you cannot tune into all frequencies all at once, all of the time. You'll blow a circuit. And it's the same. We still need to find a sense of self. We need to rest, recuperate, especially if you're working on a holistic approach and angle. You know, it becomes almost therapy based. You're going to be working with, you know, trauma, vast amounts of kind of pain and grief, and, you know, kind of situations of crisis. That it's really, really important that you find your sense of self, which is why, you know, I kind of do some of the other things that I do, which is the adventuring side of this, which was born out of me overcoming some real physical challenges and disabilities. I'd be told I wouldn't be able to walk, and some of you know that story. And the other thing is, it kind of really grounds me, it brings me back to self, is that you are in a place of discernment, you're in a place of leadership, that if you kind of have energies that are constantly, in a way, bothering you, you are absolutely in a place of asking them to leave. It's about taking leadership. But the other thing to consider is, are you missing something? You know, because if it's your guide, and it's those that are working with you, if they're constantly trying to get your attention, you've got to ask, what is it that you have missed? Is there something going on that you're not listening to? Because it doesn't always mean that it's negative, that's what's going on around you. So it is always worth checking in and asking yourself, you know, am I missing something? Is there something I'm not listening to? Because all the time I've got this overwhelming presence of someone standing there trying to get my attention. So what is going on? Always worth checking in. And if it isn't that, and it's energies that are passing by, or you're picking up on almost what I call energetic discharge, which, you know, could be that you're in an environment that's you know, in a form of transition or change, or there's kind of some trauma, or there's kind of ongoing conflict, is that can be a kind of energetic discharge that feels like an energy of its own, which is going to be kind of low vibrational or even negative, is that you absolutely are in a place of leadership and you ask it to go. You know, quite often I don't burn smudge like sage as much as I used to, mainly because a couple of people around me have a kind of reaction to it. So I nowadays I will open up all the doors, I'll open up the windows, and I'll allow the house to breathe. In allowing it to breathe, it just allows literally for the air to change, you know, and the change of air absolutely is good as saging the environment, because what you do is you just allow the energy to kind of move through, and you literally allow the air to change, you know. There's something in the air, you know, those sayings, where it's come from, of course the air feels heavy, you know, there's a lot to be said by it all, which is another reason why I love my cycling, because I literally allow the elements to just kind of sweep through me, and allow myself to be reset. So I think the approach is all about, you know, leadership and knowing that your space is your personal space is important to you. You know, you wouldn't allow someone to come this close to you unless you invited them, you know, and the same energetically and the same spiritually is that it's about taking kind of leadership or charge of your personal space. And if you have got something that seems to be hounding you, check in why. You know, is it that you're missing something? Or is it that someone is trying to get a message across? Or is it that you're picking up on something, you know, that is locked within the environment? I had someone recently who said that every night it becomes super busy, hugely busy, super busy. And I said to them, I want you to picture your lounge and look out the window, and there's either in front of you, if you can kind of see, there is either a sense of a church or water. And they said, oh my God, they said, not far from me is a church and a graveyard. I said, well, you know what? The house you're staying in is absolutely on a ley line. That energy is being drawn across. So there's things that you can do, but one of the best things to actually kind of really look at long term is actually for you, being as sensitive you are, is actually moving. You know, because, you know, manor houses, churches, you know, wells, all those things are literally within on ley lines. Ley lines are super highways for energy. You know, they just kind of absolutely draw that energy across those ley lines. Churches were always built on ley lines because before the church was there, it would have been like a sacred grove. It would have been, you know, a sacred site of some description, if that be a burial mound, a long burrow, a stone circle. You know, they were placed there for good reason, but it means they enhance what is happening. And the thing is, if we kind of look out in the world, there's so much that is happening, and one of the greatest emotions within the world at this time is almost, you know, kind of disconnection, fear, anxiety, chaos. You know, all of that energy moves through those ley lines and it enhances. So if you're sensitive, you are going to be experiencing. So the best things that we can do is actually approach all of this and foster a sense of leadership. Is develop an innate sense of leadership, which is why I say in the previous video is that your greatest form of protection is always going to be attitude. Hope you found that interesting, guys. As always, please do feel free to leave your comments. If you have a question on development, personal development, tarot, mediumship, life even, feel free to drop a comment and I'll pick it up in a future video. Those of you that are watching this on Facebook, you can find a wealth of resources or videos on my YouTube channel, which is, if you search Shane Gadd on YouTube, you'll find me. And those of you on YouTube, you want to kind of connect with my daily content and all the work that I do, you can find me on Facebook. There is a link within this video, Spirit Meets Adventure, and also on my website, which is all the w's.shanegadd.com. Thanks guys, see you all very soon, and keep the questions coming. Cheers guys, bye.